This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1-inch Android Honeycomb tablet. It's a very thin and very beautiful looking tablet. It certainly wins amongst all Android tablets on looks. It's just about every bit as attractive as the iPad 2, except maybe the back panel, which I'll show you in a minute. You can see here you have a relatively widescreen aspect ratio looking display here. It's definitely longer than the iPad 2 is, and this is their standard 1280 by 800 pixel display, which we see on the Motorola Zoom and pretty much every other Android Honeycomb tablet. This is running Android Honeycomb 3.1, which is the latest release of the operating system, and it's totally vanilla. I know that Samsung has been demoing some really nice widgets that are definitely a step above the TouchWiz we've seen on phones, but it's shipping without the widgets. They will be available for download at a later date. We don't know exactly when, so for right now you get a very vanilla Honeycomb experience, which is true of all tablets on the market. But let's go back to looks a little bit. As you can see, it's incredibly thin. This is 0.34 inches, so this is as thin as the iPad 2, and it weighs only 1¼ pounds, making it the lightest Android tablet, and right up there with the iPad 2 for being light. You can see here this is the Samsung proprietary connector. It's the same thing they use on the 7-inch Galaxy Tab. So if you have accessories for that, they should work with this connector. There are very few ports or controls of any kind here. This is stereo speaker hole. There's one on the other side. Sounds pretty good, by the way. You'll hear that later. And on the top edge we've got the power button. Very nice feeling to all these buttons here. Nice click, but not too much travel, not wobbly. It's your volume controls. And here's your 3.5mm jack. And just the stereo speaker on this side too. So you'll notice that there's no HDMI connector. That's because you need to buy the Samsung proprietary adapter that connects to the multifunction port here if you want HDMI out. There is no micro USB period, and there is no micro SD card slot. Most other Android tablets do have a SD card slot, so that can be a drawback. Especially this one, to make it more affordable, Samsung has 16 gig model, which is the one we have here. There's no way to expand that storage, so that makes it cheaper. It's $4.99 versus $5.99 for the 32 gig, which puts it at the same price as the Motorola Zoom Wi-Fi. But you better be happy with your 16 gigs because you're not going to expand it. Now let's take a look at the back. It's supposed to be available in two colors. Obviously we have the white one here. It's supposed to be available with a metallic gray, which is also plasticky looking. It wouldn't be Samsung if there wasn't some plastic here. But it is attractive looking. Definitely Arctic white, high gloss. It does show dirt and fingerprints. That part's a bummer. But it's nice looking. On the back you have just a 3-megapixel camera with an LED flash. Surprised it's not a 5-megapixel, make it a little bit more competitive with some of the other tablets on the market. And on the front you have a video chat camera, right here. Let's compare this to the iPad 2 and the Motorola Zoom. So here we have the Galaxy Tab 10.1-inch on the top and the Apple iPad 2 on the bottom. You can see that the Galaxy Tab is a bit longer across, but otherwise they're pretty similar in size. And it's a little bit shorter too, really pushing that widescreen aspect ratio. And you can see the display is really stunning. The iPad doesn't have anything on that for sure. It's really an amazing display that they've used on the Samsung. In terms of side thickness, they are pretty much identical. The iPad tapers off a little bit more, whereas this just has a rolled edge, but they're about identical thickness. Now we're comparing the Galaxy Tab 10-inch up top with the Motorola Zoom 10-inch Android tablet below. You can see they have about the same footprint. The Samsung display really pops compared to the Motorola's. The display brightness and contrast is not the strong part for the Zoom. And the other difference is in the thickness. Of course, the Motorola Zoom also weighs a bit more, but you can see there's a lot more thickness there. Motorola Zoom gets you a couple of things, including an SD card slot and the option of having 3G, maybe even 4G if that Verizon upgrade ever comes. So you can get these both in Wi-Fi editions for the same price with 32 gigs, so it really depends on what you want. If you like the kind of rugged soft touch finish on the Motorola Zoom versus the thin iPad-like design on this, and whether you need that micro SD card slot or perhaps that potential for having 3G or 4G in the more expensive Motorola Zoom model. So let's take a look at the software and how applications and multimedia run on this Android tablet. Again, this is vanilla Android, so what you're seeing here is the standard screen. Certainly fine and speedy for scrolling through. You've got your shortcut to web pages over here and have a snapshot of the web page. If I had loaded those, you can put your application shortcut icons anywhere you want. And you can simply add more by pressing and holding. And you have your choice of widgets down here, changing your wallpapers by going here, adding app shortcuts, and bookmarks and the like. So you've got an eBooks shortcut for Google's books, any application widget shortcuts that you've got, email, standard stuff for Honeycomb. Again, Samsung has not yet customized this, so it came to us pretty vanilla. There aren't many applications on here, so for you tablet newbies, you might be a little like, what do I do with this when you get it? First thing you do is you go to the Android market and you can start downloading applications. You can download a selection of tablet-optimized applications. You can see right here, they're featured at the top, and there's a reasonable amount. They're starting to fill out compared to when the Motorola Xoom came out, when there were about 8 applications on the market for the first Android tablet. So you've got some games here, a lot of useful things, IMDb, Flickster for movies, Evernote. A lot of the staples are here. Certainly not as much as the iPad 2 yet, but hopefully someday we'll get there. Standard applications include Google Music, and it can work with the Google Music Beta. So here we are in Google Books. This works with Google's ebook reading service. Unfortunately, you still can't sideload your own EPUB books if you want, but Google does have plenty of public domain free books, or you can purchase books from them for about the same price as every place else. Very graphically pleasing, nice to use. And if you tap, you can bring up a slider that jumps through sections over here. You can go through and change your font size and so on. Do that. You can change text size, brightness, themes, and all that kind of thing. Strangely absent still are bookmarks. It does remember the last place that you're at when you're reading a book, but there are no bookmarks. Of course, you can also load Kindle on this, Nook, Kobo Reader, anything you want, so it does make an excellent book reader. Samsung also includes Quick Office as Quick Office HD, which is very nice tablet-optimized MS Office suite that gives you a semi-desktop view of things versus what you'd see on a smartphone. Definitely useful. Of course, the usual YouTube player is here, the gallery application, and Samsung apps, which doesn't really have very much yet, but we're sure as this product rolls out, it's only available in one store right now, the Best Buy in Union City. Soon it'll be available everywhere. They'll start adding more apps. So right now we've got basically a couple of Angry Birds options and not too much else. I assume that when Samsung's widgets and TouchWiz optimizations are available for download, that they will appear in Samsung apps rather than the Android market. In terms of multimedia, this does very well. It handles 1080p easily, streaming media, but it doesn't benchmark very well, which is interesting. It scores 1504 on Quadrant, which isn't particularly high for a Tegra 2 tablet. LinPack is 31. Again, that's okay. That's about middle of the road for a tablet. SunSpider Java test is pretty good at 2165 milliseconds, so that's very competitive with every other tablet on the market, including the iPad 2. And perhaps Samsung is using some aggressive power management. Despite the thin size, by the way, this has a 7,000 milliamp battery, which is a rather large high-capacity battery, and battery life has been quite good, as we've noted with most all Android Honeycomb tablets. Let's take a look at some multimedia. First, we're going to look at movies by Flickster and look at some streaming trailers in HD. And this is obviously over Wi-Fi. This does not have 3G or 4G. This is a Wi-Fi only product. That's looking pretty good. You can hear the speaker quality is fairly nice. It's not hugely loud, but voice quality is very natural and has some fullness. So obviously you can handle that just fine. Next we're going to take a look at some locally stored content. We have a 1080 video trailer stored locally on the device, and we're going to play that. And this plays it about as well as we've seen on any Android Honeycomb tablet. Certainly as well as the Zoom. Definitely better than the Acer Iconia tab, which for some reason could not handle 1080p video. Very good frame rates there. And the lip sync is pretty good as well. So as a multimedia device, definitely, especially with this really luscious screen. Now this has, of course, the usual wonderful Android WebKit-based web browser and full Adobe Flash, which we will test out going to YouTube's site and looking at the desktop version of the site and videos there. So here we are watching the trailer, inset in the window over here, the default 360p, and we are going to go for full screen mode. Of course, this is Flash 10.3 that we've installed, so it has hardware acceleration for the Tegra GPU. It should be noted that this does not ship with Flash pre-installed, so you've got to go down to download it from the market yourself. Usually tablets come with some form of Flash pre-installed these days, or there is a shortcut on the desktop to get you there, but you'll have to do it for yourself. So this is full screen running at 480p, and it's looking mighty smooth and good. See how it does at a higher resolution. We'll go up to 720, which is the maximum available for this. Now we switch to 720p. It looks pretty smooth, a little loss of lip sync, but otherwise very smooth. Nice. So that's Adobe Flash and full YouTube. And how about regular web browsing? That's the same old Android experience, which is to say very good. Here we are on our website. Smooth scrolling, Flash ads are loading, which could really bog down the browser, but this is powerful enough thanks to the 1 GHz Tegra 2 CPU. That's handling it just fine. Of course, you can pinch zoom. It's quite responsive, so it's fine. The tablet has, as mentioned, the 1 GHz dual-core Tegra 2 CPU with NVIDIA GPU for graphics acceleration. It's got a gig of RAM. This is the 16 gig model. You can get it with 32 gigs for $100 more. It has Bluetooth 2.1 plus EDR and Wi-Fi BGN, and it's dual band according to Samsung. 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz bands are supported. Again, it has the front-facing camera that works for video chat. You can use that with Google Talk Video Chat, and the rear-facing 3-megapixel camera. This has a basic movie editor in here called Movie Studio. And speaking of movies, we're surprised that Samsung didn't put their media hub that's been appearing in all their phones and the Samsung Galaxy Tab 7-inch, where you could rent or buy movies and TV shows. Hopefully that'll be coming. We do have their music hub, however. Gives you a little confirmation screen every time unless you turn it on. And here you can buy music from Samsung if you wish through their partner 7 Digital. Tracks range from 99 cents to $1.49, and there's a reasonably good selection here. The Galaxy Tab also has the usual Google Maps and Google Navigation. Of course, with Wi-Fi only, if you're driving around, there's not going to be an easy way to get data flowing to the tablet unless you're tethering with your smartphone, which certainly is a strong possibility. And lastly, gaming. Gaming does well. We're just going to look at a free game here, the Gun Brothers game that's available on the market for a 3D game. You're ready to run around and shoot things. So that's the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1 Android Honeycomb tablet. It's available now in Union City at Best Buy, New York. It will be available everywhere in a couple of weeks, middle of June. It sells for $4.99 for the 16 gig and $5.99 for the 32 gig. There are a lot of tablet choices out suddenly. I'm sure there are going to be more, but if you're looking for an Android tablet, I'd say this is for you if you're looking for something incredibly slim, light, and stylish. This one is about the looks, particularly, And also it has a really nice vibrant screen. Drawbacks are there's no SD card slot and there's no USB host capability for plugging in things like flash drives, so this one is a bit less expandable, unless you start looking at Samsung accessories for that proprietary port at the bottom. But definitely a lovely tablet and a great first offering in big screen Honeycomb tablets from Samsung. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website for the full review.